Every time I think of the beautiful spiritual family of Paramahansa Yogananda spread all over the world, I see each of you as those shining jewels that he spoke of in his autobiography of a yogi, scattered over the earth, radiating by your sincerity, by your dedication, by your focus, by your determination, radiating a new light of divine awakening for all the world, helping this dispensation that he brought to gather force, to gather power, and to further that divine mission that Paramahansaji was sent to the West to accomplish, to bring to the world, to bring to people of all faiths, of all nationalities, of all cultures, the entire human family, to bring to them the key to that divine realization, that key to the kingdom of heaven. Today, this year, this celebration, I would say it's only partly about looking back. Yes, we honor, we look back with gratitude, we reinforce the consciousness of what we have been given. But more than that, it's a time to look forward. A time to look forward to the further unfolding, the ongoing divine dispensation of light and grace and wisdom and realization and liberation that his self-realization fellowship worldwide work is destined to bestow upon the world. There's no question that the world today is in a dire situation. Everywhere we look, there's uncertainty, insecurity, there's the threat of war, threats of disaster, threats to the well-being and equanimity and basic livelihood of so many millions of souls around the world. An erosion of the basic fabric of civility, of kindness, of harmony, of understanding and mutual regard that even holds society together. You know, these things are very real, and these things are today a source of insecurity for millions around the world, including those of us on this path of self-realization fellowship, including those of us who, even knowing that there is a diviner purpose to life, a diviner refuge, a diviner source of strength and power. And in the face of all of these challenges, in the face of the temporary darkness that the world will have to go through and is going through, our Master's message was one. It was this. It was never give in to fear. Never give in to a consciousness of vulnerability. Cast out all fear. And instead, he said, let us focus on the constructive actions, the constructive steps that we can take to ensure a better future. For that better future, he promised us, will surely come. It will come. Positively, it will come. This is one of the greatest points that we can emphasize as we think upon the 100 years of self-realization fellowship and the many more years, decades, and centuries that this work will go on. Focus on the constructive actions. Focus on the positive, because by doing that, we're doing our part to counteract all of that temporary drags, you might say, on the upward ascending consciousness of humanity. I wanted to share today some words that our beloved past president, Sri Dayamata, said about this. And those of you, all of you know, of course, what a tremendous seminal role she played in the history of Self-Realization Fellowship in these past 100 years. She and those other early disciples who came here and gave their lives decade after decade to living and serving and exemplifying what our Guru brought. So one time, this was just a couple of years before her passing, our beloved Ma was writing to the worldwide family of SRF. And I wanted to share what she said on this occasion because it's so pertinent to what we've been talking about. She said this. She said, every now and then, read the aims and ideals that Guruji set forth for his world mission, for they depict the future of the world. Read those aims and ideals. They're printed in every SRF publication, every book. You all know them. You all have been living by them. You all were drawn to this path because of their nobility, because of the promise, the hope, the enthusiasm that they rouse in each of us. So she said, read those aims and ideals, for they depict the future of the world. Yes, Guruji intended them as goals for his organization. But do you think that Master would have articulated them as such if God and the great ones behind this work had not definitely shown him that these were to come to pass as we move into the coming higher age? And Ma said, even in the relatively short period since Guruji's lifetime, we have seen significant progress. And as all of us do our part in furthering these ideals, here's what we'll see increasingly. And then she listed, this was very inspiring, she listed the progress. She listed some of the points of spiritual evolution and improvement that she, out of her realization and echoing the vision that was implanted in our Guru by God, by his Param Gurus, she was echoing that vision of what was to come in the decades, in the centuries ahead of us. She said, first of all, we'll see more and more the spread among all nations of the harmonizing, uplifting yoga science of meditation. As Guruji said, definite scientific techniques for attaining direct personal experience of God. Not only that, she said, we can look forward to the diminishing of divisiveness between warring religions as humanity realizes the common scientific foundation of all true religions. This was the promise, this was the legacy that Guruji set in motion when he founded this work 100 years ago. And not only that, she said, but a return to this ideal that Guruji loved so much, the ideal of plain living and high thinking, and a spirit of unselfish service and brotherhood among all peoples, as they realize, encouraged and reinforced by the practice of meditation, as they realize the eternal basis of the unity of the human family, oneness with God, kinship with God. And she said, then we'll also see this. We will see, as Guruji said, and as he embodied in those aims and ideals, we'll see an increase in the scientific and practical understanding of the superiority of mind over body and of soul over mind. And correspondingly, we will see a great progress in healing the threefold suffering of humankind: physical disease, mental inharmonies, and spiritual ignorance. And she said, we will also see, and this is so beautiful, we will see the dawning and the growth and the progress of an ideally balanced global culture that combines the spiritual wisdom of the East and the material progressiveness and prosperity that's been developed in the Western countries, creating a sustainable and harmonious planetary civilization. And then our beloved Ma, she ended this overview, this recapping of the vision, and she said, doesn't this vision fill your heart with enthusiasm and a resolve to live by the ideals taught in Gurdji's lessons and books? She said, by doing so, you bring your life in tune with the divine protection. And you hasten your own evolution and simultaneously contribute to the evolution of all humanity. So as I said, today and this year, as we celebrate the 100 years of Self-Realization Fellowship, let it be primarily a looking forward. Let it be primarily a rededicating, a rekindling of the enthusiasm, the resolve, the divine hope, the divine confidence, the divine sense of security that we feel when we reflect on what our Guru brought in these SRF teachings, and what this divine dispensation, this special dispensation of the light of Kriya Yoga, the techniques of Kriya Yoga, and the teachings of the SRF way of life promise for each of us and for all the world. It isn't something that will happen without the willing participation, the willing embrace of that responsibility by each member of the SRF YSS family.